Yes, you're not live.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Carlin O'Hanley, and I am the chair of the Point Pleasant Park Advisory Committee. I'll call the meeting to order at 4:40 p.m., and I will start our meeting off today with a land acknowledgement. The Halifax Regional Municipality is located in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and traditional lands of the Mi'kmaq people. The municipality acknowledges the peace and friendship treaties signed in the territory and recognizes that we are all treaty people. As is standard for virtual meetings, we will begin with roll call to make sure that all members' AV is working. So I, Carlin O'Hanley, I'm all good. Ted Doan,
I'm here. Thanks.
thank you. Hi, Ryan Frizzle.
Hello.
Hi. Muyu Jia. Okay. Dominique Johns.
Here.
Hi.
Hey.
And Karen Zishuri. Hi. And then, as we knew, Councillor Wayne Mason is not with us this evening. Okay, thank you, everyone. We're now going to move on to our agenda for today's meeting. Approval of minutes from July 4th, 2024. So I will now ask if there are any edits to the minutes of July 4th, 2024. If there are none, I would invite a member to move the approval of these minutes.
So moved. It's Ted.
Thank you, Ted. Ted moves. Can we please have a seconder?
I'll do that. Dominique.
Thank you, Dominique. Ted moved. Dominique is seconded by Dominique. And now I will call for the question. All those in favor say aye or raise hands.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All those opposed say oppose or raise hands. Okay, the motion is passed and it is carried. So now we're going to move on to the approval of the order of business and approval of additions and deletions for today's meeting. To our legislative assistant, can you inform us if there's any changes to today's agenda, please?
No additional deletions to today's agenda.
Thank you. And to our committee members, are there any changes to today's agenda? Okay, there are no changes coming from the committee. Thank you. So I will now invite a member of our committee to move this following motion, that the agenda be approved as presented.
I move that we do that.
Thank you. So Ryan is the mover. May we please have a seconder, please?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Dominique. So the motion has been moved by Ryan and seconded by Dominique. I will now call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say oppose. Okay, the motion has been carried and it has passed. Moving on to section 4, business arising out of the minutes, and there are none. So now I will ask if anyone has a conflict of interest to declare as a result of an item on today's agenda. Okay, there are no declarations of interest, so our meeting is going to proceed as scheduled. Oh, thanks. So now we're going to consider deferred business. We have one item from the July 4th, 2024 meeting. So I will ask Ted to give a summary of the handout that was circulated to the members. Ted,
So
the floor is yours.
Great, thank you. What I'd like to do is provide a summary, some background, and then I have a motion. So in summary, we received a letter from a member of the public. They had concerns about fire protection and firefighting in the park. Their concerns in particular were around smoking, tents in the park, the risk of deadfall, the functionality of the fire hydrants, and if there'd be appropriate access to equipment and water. So we had previously requested an update on the park's fire management and emergency response plan. The city staff have indicated that that's in progress, and they would like to present something in a later meeting. I just wanted to remind the committee that this plan was updated and envisioned in the park's long-term comprehensive plan. So it was an expectation that that HRM would have a plan like this in place and would keep it updated. Some of the risks myself that I would see, the park borders the homes on Chain Rock Drive, and we have park trees that actually touch the trees on Point Pleasant Drive, creating an additional fire risk. This could impact the integrity of the park, the homes, and the businesses that are in close proximity to the park. The tree trimming in Point Pleasant in recent years has left a significant amount of deadfall on the ground. This creates additional risk for the spread of fire. And there's the risk of tents in the park. We've seen tents, and there's the potential for a homelessness encampment in the park. The risk from that could be that the park's dense trees and underbrush could easily catch fire, especially during dry conditions. The encampments often use open flames and cooking for warmth, which could start fires. Without proper fire safety equipment and protocols, small fires can quickly escalate, and the park's layout might make it challenging for fire service to quickly reach and control fires. Also a concern that the park has many ecological, historical, cultural assets at risk from fire, including Indigenous sites that need to be protected and preserved. The park and park users were devastated by Hurricane Juan, and I know that people are hypersensitive to fire risk, and really a solid fire risk management and emergency response plan is needed. Also, there's many layers of government with a vested interest in the park. So we have federal, provincial, municipal, and First Nations. They need to be consulted on fire management and an emergency response plan as well. And there are many institutions, non-government organizations, and park service providers who also have an interest in this topic. So, Madam Chair, my motion would be that we request the submission of a fire management and emergency response plan for our next meeting.
Thank you, Vice Chair. So then I believe, and if the clerk, if you don't mind supporting me in this, I believe we would need someone to move this, and then we would require a seconder. Is that the case?
Okay, thank you for that. For Point Pleasant Park Advisory Committee, the committee can't move a motion. Yes, it's an advisory body, so the committee can't move a motion. What we just need to do, since the staff here is with us, so it's going to address this item and we'll know the way forward from here.
So I'm not clear on that.
Okay, I said Point Pleasant Park is an advisory committee. So for now, you can't move a motion, but you can make a recommendation to the parent body.
Okay, that's what we would like to do.
Okay.
Yes.
I would say, just step in there. Maybe it would be best to get somebody in from Halifax Fire to actually give you guys a presentation on the current procedures. I think that would probably be the best way to go about it, because they do have a plan for, if a fire were to occur in Point Pleasant Park, the plan's already developed. So I think it would just be an information session for you guys.
Is that a plan? Is that a plan that could be submitted to the committee?
I know it was a plan that could be submitted to the committee. I know there's certain guidelines and things like that. I mean, it would be treated the same as a fire in any other park, right? It would be the exact same thing. There would be no differences there. So that would be the best course of action here, would be to get, somebody that's well-versed in this situation, so that he can give you a presentation and then you guys can ask any questions going forward.
Okay, because I know a plan was envisioned in the comprehensive plan for the park.
Yeah,
So I would have expected there's something that's available for the committee members to see.
it would be the same as, say, if a fire were to take place in, Sir Sanford Fleming. It would be, the exact same procedure. It would be no different, right? In terms of fire. Yeah, so I can request that for next meeting for you guys to have somebody from Halifax Fire come.
Thank you.
Okay, so Ted, are you fine with that, or you still want to go ahead with?
Yes, just as long as we noted in the minutes
Okay.
that the recommendation was made for that for the next meeting, or for the
Okay.
presentation next meeting,
Okay.
and the submission of a plan if one's available.
Okay.
Thank you, Ted. So, is there anything else, Adam, that you'd like to address regarding the issues that were raised in the handout?
Not particularly. I mean, it's not my area of expertise, so I wouldn't be able to give too much into the details. I mean, the fire hydrants going through the park, they are no longer active. They haven't been active for years, and it's just because of aging infrastructure, and they're not required. So I guess that's one of the information things we can give you there. And then, other than that, that's pretty much all I have.
Thank you, Adam. I will now turn it over to the committee for questions. And our list is, as usual. Ted, do you have any questions?
No, I have nothing further.
Thank you. Ryan?
No questions. Thank you.
Dominique?
No.
Karen?
No questions on my end.
Thank you. And I don't have any questions either. Okay, so thank you, everyone. We will now move on to the next item on our agenda. Clerk, has there been any correspondence received?
Yes, correspondence was received and circulated for item 9.2.1.
I understand. Thank you. And so now we're going to move to petitions. Are there any petitions to be presented?
No petitions received from the clerk's office.
Thank you. Information items brought forward, we have none. And so now we'll move down to operations update, and I will ask Ian Kennedy, Supervisor, Major Parks West, to speak to us, the Point Pleasant Park Advisory Committee, about the operations memo that was circulated to the members. Ian?
Hey, so Ian couldn't make it today, so I will give the operations update.
Thank you,
Very
Adam.
much, yeah, no problem. It's very much the same as the rest of the year. Not much has really changed, but I'll roll through it for you guys just so you guys get all the information there. So pretty much what we're focusing on, like a lot of the year, is the removal of aging and hazardous invasive trees, and this is going to continue into the fall season. So we're going to be removing invasive species like Rosa multiflora, Japanese knotweed, and we're planning for this removal over the coming months and into the fall season. We're going to be continuing with trail cutbacks throughout the park, and we're going to be raising some of the low canopies on some of the trees. We're also going to be increasing a focus on road maintenance to remediate wear from the plowing during the winter operations. So we're also going to be working on resurfacing some of the trails and roads throughout Point Pleasant Park, which we're always doing, and we're always kind of looking for the persistent washouts and adjusting the grades to mitigate the drainage issues there. So we've also rented a loader to make this work a bit easier, and we've replaced some culverts along the roads there with some newer, bigger plastic culverts, which should improve the drainage of the areas. So all this kind of falls in line with the comprehensive plan, the drainage maintenance, the invasive species removal, forest management, and the repair of park amenities. So that all falls within the comprehensive plan that we look to for guidance. Also, our students have finished up for the season, and we still have seasonal staff that remain on until November. So some of the projects that we have either completed or we will be completing in 2024 is some targeted masonry work on exterior stone walls that have degraded or been damaged by vehicles. This work is in progress and will continue into the fall. And we've also repaired some work on the Shakespeare by the Sea staircase, which was completed in June. So we've replaced some bollards in the lower and upping parking lot to alleviate the unauthorized vehicle traffic in Point Pleasant Park. Also, one of the projects that we're going to be moving into in the fall is the final phase of the forest thinning project that was recently awarded, and they should be starting that soon, actually. I think we got an initial meeting coming up next week about that project. So that's right out of the comprehensive plan again. That's, was one of the recommendations from that. And then also, again, like I just talked about, we replaced some culverts along Sailors Memorial Way and Arm Road. That was completed throughout the summer. And one other thing that we're working on is we're working with a HRM contract supervisor on a capital proposal for resurfacing of some of the major roadways in Point Pleasant Park, like Cambridge Shore and Sailors Memorial.
Thank you, Adam. I'll now turn it over to the committee in case there's any questions. Ted?
I don't have any. Thanks for the update.
No problem.
Ryan?
Yeah, I was wondering if there's any plan to do painting in the Tower Road parking lot. Like I'm thinking specifically the parking lines at the front of the parking lot against where the wall is. They're pretty much gone, as well as the directional lines on the road itself. They're pretty much gone now as well. Just wondering if there's any plan to repaint that parking lot.
Probably not this year. We'll address it next year for sure. Because if we do it now, we're getting into winter anyway. So it'll deteriorate. So next year, we'll plan to do that. I would say next spring.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you. Dominique?
No questions.
Thank you. Karen?
No, nothing else from me.
Thank you. And I'm good too. I'm thinking. I do have a question.
Mhm.
And it might not be for us. It might be for the others, but what is the process if folks' intents are found in the park?
Essentially, what would happen is we were reported to our community safety team. They have a homeless division.
Okay.
And then they would look to remove that tent from the park and relocate them if possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, everyone. We're now going to move on to our next agenda item, and that is 9.1.2, Point Pleasant Advisory Committee mandate. And so that will be Adam again, Superintendent's Park West, to speak to us about the park advisory mandate. Go ahead, Adam. Thank you.
Yeah, so I just wanted to give you guys a quick little, I guess, information session on which really just ties into your next agenda item for you guys. So you guys got a little bit of information into that. So essentially, what the mandate is for the committee is it's to make sure we don't stray as HRM, meaning we don't fall too far away from the comprehensive plan, and to essentially hold us to that. So what the comprehensive plan is, if you guys haven't reviewed it or seen it, it is online for you guys to review at your convenience. It's basically guidelines and recommendations for the long-term plan of the park. It's not really a step-by-step process. It's not a project management plan. It doesn't say, in 2026, we're going to be regraveling this road. Essentially what it says, it gives us recommendations and guidelines, like forest thinning project, like that could have been completed last year, could be completed this year, or could have been completed the year after. Like, it's really guidelines that we follow and recommendations. It's not really something that's very, I guess it's not solid. It's not set in stone, right? So that very much ties into the next point of the encampment designation. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of information on that. So essentially, the committee wasn't skipped in that process. It really was made at a director and executive director level, and that was done across, like, say, multiple business units. So it wasn't just parks making that decision. And it's very much a short-term solution. It's not a long-term solution for anything, and doesn't impact the long-term view of the park or the plan for the park. So it's very short-term for a problem for a gigantic problem that our society is facing. So that's essentially all the information I have on the designation. I do recommend that we have somebody come from community safety to really give us a presentation on this. I mean, it will be informative for myself as well, because really I found it at the same time as everybody else at the designation. So, so we weren't skipped at our level in the process at all. It's really made at higher levels up when we come to these decisions. So, yeah, that's all I got.
Thank you, Adam. So now we're going to turn it over to the committee for any questions. And we're going to start with Ted. Ted, go ahead, please.
Yeah, and just to add to that, so from the comprehensive plan, our first two mandate items would be, number one, to advise the municipality on the management and evolution of the park. And the second one is to apply the highest standards in all aspects of park stewardship. So I would think the encampments do come under that. And it's just my feeling that it would be sensible for the committee to be providing some advice on encampments or changes to the park in that way, and park use.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it is made at a decision higher than the committee and higher than, say, operations, right? So that's just the reality.
Ted, do you have anything else you'd like to follow up on with that?
Nope, I have nothing further.
Thank you. Ryan?
No, nothing to add. Thank you.
Dominique?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Karen?
Nothing else to add.
Thank you. And yeah, I appreciate that. This is this kind of came down quickly without a lot of awareness, and now it's about making things work and responding, right? And so I guess we'll move on to the next agenda item, but thank you, Adam, for covering those details for us and answering those questions. Thank you.
No problem.
So now we're going to move to 9.2.1, and this is the committee members update. So this is the city designation of Point Pleasant Park for encampment. So myself and Ted will give a summary of the correspondence that was circulated. Ted, would you like to give the update?
Sure. I have the the email I had sent to you. So you just want the number 1 item on the encampments?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, so in the communication, we just indicated that the city designated Point Pleasant Park for a homeless encampment. The advisory committee was not consulted at our last meeting on June 4th, and that was, I think the city has spoken to that. And our agenda topic for a fire protection plan was deferred at the last minute. We appreciate that locations are needed for the homeless. However, there must be better locations. Establishing an encampment creates a fire risk to the park and surrounding homes, and the risks associated with homeless encampments. Such as drugs, violence, profane language. They compromise the safety of children's, family, and other park users. In the inner city, there's residents who need a place where they feel safe to visit. Also, many residents cannot afford to travel outside Halifax to enjoy the serenity of the woods and water. The existence of a homeless encampment will make the park less accessible for residents. We are also concerned that a homeless encampment will lead to environmental degradation from littering, waste disposal, and damage to the ecosystem. For example, the flora and fauna. The park is also home to many cultural and historic features, such as the fortifications and Mi'kmaq sites of archaeological significance.
Thank you, Ted. So now I'm going to turn it over to Adam again to address any of the issues that have been raised in our correspondence. Adam, please.
Hey again. So really, I think we just kind of went over the majority of that. And so essentially, again, just to reiterate, the decisions were made for this above the committee level, above my level, and really made as a short-term solution for a significant problem. And, you know, you could say it's an emergency decision, right? It's not something that, you know, there's a long-term plan for this to be a long-term thing for Point Pleasant Park. It would be an extremely short-term solution as a stopgap in time, really. And again, I do think we should get somebody from the community safety team, the homelessness team, to come in and give you guys a presentation, because they are very well versed in this subject and they can give you guys a lot more information than what I can provide. So I think that's another, you know, if we can't get it for next meeting, I know that department is very busy. I would maybe we get it for the meeting after or something like that, but we'll do our best to try to get them to give you guys a presentation on this stuff.
Thank you, Adam. And now we'll send it over to our committee for any questions. We'll start with Ted, Vice Chair, once again. Go ahead, Ted, if you have any.
Thank you. Yeah, so just the concerns that were noted, and I think it's important that as an advisory committee, we do have a role to play in providing that feedback and useful advice to the city, you know, on decisions like this. And I think it could add a lot of value and add a lot of value in the future as well. So thank you.
Yeah.
Ryan?
No, I don't have anything to add to that. Thank you.
Dominique?
No, I don't.
Karen?
Nothing else on my end.
Thank you. And I agree with Ted that it's important that we're aware so that we can share any feedback if needed. So it could possibly be taken into consideration. But I'm also aware that right now, and this is my view, I'm also aware that right now we're trying to find solutions when there aren't a lot of solutions. And we're trying to maintain different services and accessibility for our community members within the city. So I appreciate everyone's opinions, concerns, and then the work and responses that are coming from the city and Adam. So thank you. We will now move on to the next item on our agenda, and that is the date of next meeting. And that will be November 14th, 2024. And that meeting will be on November 14th, 2024, and it will be, I guess, overseen by, I believe, Ted, because the rest of the committee will be voting for a new chair because this is my last meeting as my 2 years with the committee is up. Is that correct, clerk?
Yes.
Yeah. So I just want to take a moment out to say thank you to everybody for your patience with me as I learned how to chair the meetings and the proper diction, as well as thank you everyone for taking part and just being a great team. It was wonderful to participate and work with you all. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
And
very much.
And feel free, you all have my email, so reach out anytime if needed or wanted. So now it's a beautiful sunny day. Let's call for a motion to adjourn today's meeting. And this will require a mover.
So moved.
Thank you, Ted. So the meeting is adjourned at 5:12 p.m. And thank you all. This has been a wonderful privilege.